It's easy to get stuck reaching for the same familiar fruits and vegetables, even when you know a colorful variety is key. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggie supplements don't replace fruits and vegetables, but it makes it easy to add more variety to what you already eat. With 31 ingredients that are whole fruits and vegetables, switching it up is easy because we've already taken care of the hard part. Go to balanceofnature.com and get a free fiber and spice supplement, plus 35% off your first set as a new preferred customer by using discount code POD.
¿Hablas español?
Sprichst du Deutsch?
If you used Babbel, you would. Babbel's conversation-based techniques teaches you useful words and phrases to get you speaking quickly about the things you actually talk about in the real world, with lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts and voiced by real native speakers. Babbel is like having a private tutor in your pocket. Start speaking with Babbel today. Get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/Spotify, spelled BABBEL.com/Spotify. Rules and restrictions may apply.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, wait till you hear what the new mayor of Seattle said about President Trump. And also Zohran Mamdani, another Democratic Socialist Communist who is on the East Coast. You got now the Seattle one who just got in, who is also a self-professed socialist. Boy, oh boy, what a mess. Both coasts now. And Mamdani will tell you in a moment some of the people that he reached out to make what he calls New York City Trump-proof. We're going to get to that in a moment. But first, also the cost of the Democratic shutdown. And boy, it was a doozy. $15 billion per week. Also, $5.2 million airline passengers impacted. Think about that. How many millions? That's just the tip of the iceberg. And they're still being impacted tonight because it's going to take a couple days to get things back up and running. 1.4 million federal workers went unpaid. 42 million lost their SNAP benefits. That is for, of course, those underprivileged, those who are in poverty and need the food supplies. And for what? And for what? For absolutely nothing. For absolutely politics. So listen to Hakeem Jeffries, because this is downright frightening. He is saying, he's the House Minority Leader of the Democrats. He says what we just saw, of course, the Democrats ultimately voted just a handful of them. Only 6 in the House and 8 in the Senate decided to do the right thing and open up the government. I mean, it's disgraceful what they put the American public through for politics. They got nothing at the end of the day, and they knew they'd get nothing. So here's Hakeem Jeffries saying what we saw was just round one. Take a listen.
Fight will end. Only 2 ways, Mr. Speaker, that this fight will end. Either Republicans finally decide to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits this year, or the American people will throw Republicans out of their jobs next year and end the speakership of Donald J. Trump once and for all. That's how this fight ends. Mr. Speaker, during this painful Trump-Republican shutdown, what we've seen is 2 different philosophies in terms of how to govern for the American people. The Democratic Party philosophy is clear. We are ready, willing, and able to find bipartisan common ground anytime, any place, to enact spending agreements that actually make life better for the American people. But in order to do that, we need to have partners on the other side of the aisle who are actually willing to find a bipartisan path forward. But what we've seen from Republicans from the very beginning of this presidency is a my way or the highway approach. That's been the Republican philosophy. Jam your extremism down the throats of the American people. That's what we've seen from day one of this presidency. That's the reason why the government has been shut down by Republicans and Donald Trump for the longest period of time in American history. What have we seen from Donald Trump and Republicans during this shutdown? A consistent unwillingness to actually find common ground in order to make life better for the American people. Donald Trump, during this shutdown, found the time to play golf week after week after week. Donald Trump found the time to pardon serial fraudsters like George Santos and Rudolph Giuliani.
Everything is get Trump. It totally is Trump derangement syndrome personified. And yet they got nothing. They also could have just voted for the same thing that they voted for many times before. But they didn't want to do it this time because they wanted to play politics and because the extreme left wing, like the Zohran Mamdani types, are now controlling the Democratic Party. They are the new face of the Democratic Party, as Bernie Sanders said. And it's not just bad news for Democrats. It's bad news for America, guys. And John Fetterman, who, by the way, sadly had a fall today. He was in the hospital earlier, at least today. Hopefully he's out soon. Thank goodness he's going to be okay. He's one of the voices of reason on the Democratic side. Who would have ever thought, hello, good night? You know, that masterful debate performance guy. Matt's laughing at me now. I see his face. Matt Blaze is laughing because he loves that hello, good night. I know he does. That was that masterful debate performance that we'll never forget. But he's actually turned out to be William Shakespeare. And he certainly turned out to be the voice of like common sense within the Democratic Party. And there's not a lot of them these days. And he seems to be the most fearless in so many ways. And now just in the last day or two, he did a few interviews. And I wanted to play a couple clips here because this guy is really going through the fire. I mean, he is getting bashed, he says, left and right. Not only are Republicans saying things to him, but he said the things that especially he's getting from his own party are the nastiest, are the worst. He said the Democrats are so nasty. If you don't go along with them, they really go after you. And he says that's what's happening to him by his own party because he's coming out and saying, no, we should protect Israel. No, we should keep the government open. These things that are normal things, he, for some reason, when he speaks out, they really go after him. And it's not the Republicans, it's the Democrats. Listen to what John Fetterman said on CNN with Dana Bash recently. Here it is.
You said, quote, I've drunk deeply of the venom of both the left and the right. As a connoisseur, I can confirm that the most poisonous, the bitterest, is from the far left. That is pretty remarkable to hear you say that as an elected Democrat. Why?
No. It's just been my personal experience on this thing. And when I asked my digital team, I said, we're on all the platforms. Really, what's kind of the harshest? What's kind of the most personal? And the answer was immediate. He said, "Oh, blue sky. It's blue sky." And the difference is, the right would say really rough things and names. Some names I won't repeat on TV, but the on the left, it was like they want me to die, or that we're cheering for your next stroke, or that's terrible that depression won. Why couldn't it depression won? And I hope your kids find you. They even have like the graphic, a GIF where they have like a stroke, in your head, cheering at that. Yeah, and they said that. I remember one. They claimed, the doctor let us down, and why did they have to save his life? Just really, I just can't imagine. People are wishing, I wish he dies, or I want him to die. Literally cheering for a stroke. And I don't know what the kind of a place where that comes from. That's much different than just calling me a name. That's really been consistent, in that community online.
Really lovely. That's a shocker. The stroke, we wish it went through. We wish he had a heart attack and died. I can tell you the place it's coming from. It's coming from a place of hate. That is shocking. But can you imagine what he's dealing with? And he's still coming out and speaking the truth. He's the one who also said that Mamdani does not represent the Democratic Party. He doesn't agree with what his beliefs are. He was one of the first ones to come out. While Kathy Hochul was folding like a cheap suit and endorsing Mamdani, and Hakeem Jeffries also ultimately doing so, well, guess what? John Fetterman stood strong and stood on conviction. Bravo to him. And he's paying a dear price, as you just heard, from his own party. That's where those comments are coming from. And listen to this exchange. This is John Fetterman talking. He's doing an interview with Katie Couric, and Katie is trying to get him to condemn Charlie Kirk and some of the, what she calls terrible vitriol of Charlie Kirk. This is, of course, after he was assassinated, and he won't have any of this. John Fetterman really is turning into an amazing class act. Listen to this exchange.
Do you think that flags should have been flown at half staff? Do you think his body should have been flown on Air Force Two? Do you think he should have posthumously be given the Presidential Medal of Freedom? I think some people felt that that was perhaps over the top in terms of mourning someone like Charlie Kirk. How did you feel about that?
I'd say that was his choice and his prerogative, and that was really entirely up to him.
Did you have any issues now in hindsight over some of the things that Charlie Kirk said and some of the rhetoric he used during his life?
I didn't agree with much of it. I didn't closely follow his specific kinds of views, but I did.
I'm sure you learned about them after his death, though.
No, I haven't done a deep dive on it. We've all seen that terrible video. Perhaps if you've seen the actual video, I have. And it's like appalling. And that's part of the political violence. And from what I'm saying, it's like that's unacceptable. And engaging in a debate and views I strongly disagree on, that's part of the American democracy. And for me, it's that would never justify what's happened. And I just chose not to take the opportunity to argue his views after children lost his father in the most violent public way. I mean, so that's, I would say the equivalent on the left might be, say, Mr. Piker. I strongly disagree with his views, but I'm appalled if something like that happened to him. Oh my God. I mean, that's, like we have to disagree in better ways where, you're going to solve it by shooting people. And that's why the kinds of rhetoric, we have to turn the temperature down. Extreme rhetoric makes it easier for extreme reactions or to justify them.
I think some people might say Charlie Kirk's rhetoric was extreme. I think that's the conversation that happened. People condemned political violence, but they also felt a great deal of discomfort with his language, suggesting that these kinds of words lead to violence. I don't know. I'm just kind of sharing my observations as I saw the conversations unfold.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think we agree that we probably didn't agree with much of what he said. And I'm sure we both agree that you shouldn't shoot people, and you shouldn't execute them in public. And I think that's two things must be true. That free speech, I'm an absolute free speech guy, and you have the right to say these things, and you definitely also have the right not to get shot by sharing your views.
What a powerful comment. You have the right to say certain things, and you have a right not to get shot for exposing your views, for sharing your views. Bravo to him for not taking the bait, because, boy, she was trying to bait him there. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Sandra in New Jersey. Go ahead, Sandra, line 2. Your thoughts.
Oh, I was just thinking about John Fetterman. He was raised by Republican parents, and that's probably why he has such good values, because he was raised by parents who taught him that. So he can't get rid of it, and he never will. I even tried to reach out to him, Rita, to bring him to the club. I know he's a Democrat. I know it's a Republican club, but I love him, and I'd love to bring him there. But so far they say no. But I learned from my sister that he's going to be speaking at a synagogue in Manhattan. So I said, Leslie, go over to him and maybe do something.
Hey, that's great. By the way, when is he speaking at that? That's great. I love that.
I have to find out from my sister, but I think it's this week actually. But what I really wanted to comment about also was Jessica Tisch. My career, Rita, has been I was an executive recruiter in accounting and finance. And all in my life, I would see many, many times where a company would merge with another. And suddenly all these talented people would come in my office. They're not happy anymore because there's a new player in town, and he starts to bring his staff. And before you know it, those people are pushed aside, and they become unhappy and they leave. And that's what will happen with her. I remember reading.
But see, Sandra, this is different to me. Don't you think? And I hear what you're saying, because you're right. New people come in, they change the staff, and that definitely does happen. So you're right on that. Where I say it's different is his views are so viscerally, I think, dangerous. And if somebody who says they love policing, some people say, well, she should stay to be a check on this guy. I think she'll last 5 minutes because she'll get so frustrated, because I think this guy is a true believer. And that's why it's different. It's not just like sort of a typical turnover. This guy clearly is going full steam ahead. He picked as his chief of staff the person who was the architect of send a social worker versus a cop. I mean, that alone says I'm going for it. So real quick, Sandra, what do you think?
Well, I remember reading about Rodney Harrison. He previously held high-ranking roles in the NYPD in Suffolk County. I think he had his eye on that job, police commissioner. I'm telling you, she should not stay in that role. She should quit while she's ahead.
I agree, 100%. Quit while you're ahead. I 100% agree, Sandra. 1-800-848-9222 will continue after the break.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
Optimism isn't sunshine and rainbows. It's fixing things, changing the way we fix things. It's running the world on smarter energy. Because if optimism never stops, then change can't either. GE Vernova, the energy of change.
This is the Rita Cosby Show.
And let's go to Michael on the east side. Go ahead, Michael. Your thoughts tonight.
Sorry. First of all, that caller that you had about, 40 minutes ago or so, talking about the Jewish lobby, you should have set him straight. When you hear those words, the Jewish lobby, you know the guy's no good.
By the way, I did set him straight on a lot of things, but continue.
Okay. The Jewish community is traditionally liberal, so you are going to have some diehard liberals from the old stock that are going to vote for him. But what he did that was so disgusting was that he had a group of rabbis.
Or actually, Michael, do me a favor. I'm going to hold you over, okay? We just have a hard break. Stick with us, because I do want to hear your thoughts. It's very important. We're going to go to a break. We'll have you right after that. Stay with us.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Rita Cosby is on. Breaking news.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, what's it called? Birds of a feather flock together. We're just coming out that Zohran Mamdani has been reaching out to some blue state governors, trying to get advice on how to handle Donald Trump. because, of course, Donald Trump said, you know what, not so fast, little guy. Not so fast, youngkin. And I'm talking about the fact he's 34 years old and has no experience. And obviously all his crazy views. Well, President Trump said, maybe we'll withhold federal dollars because I am the president of the United States, and the federal government trumps local government. So apparently Zohran Mamdani has been reaching out to people like J.B. Pritzker and Gavin Newsom and others, talking about how to handle Trump's, quote, threats to make New York City, quote, Trump-proof. You can't make it up. Also, the new Seattle mayor is just saying essentially that she wants to make Seattle, quote, Trump-proof, and that she is also hoping to do something similar. Boy, oh boy, this is a mess. And it couldn't be crazier, especially if you listen to some of the crazy things Zohran Mamdani has said, which is why we're going to get back to Michael in a moment about his anti-Semitic comments. But you got to hear this from Zohran Mamdani about policing and prisons.
The way that prisons are set up in our society, I would argue that they do not work. They do not make us safer. The instinct is to just take that person, the source of that harm, the source of that issue, and then just throw them away. Put them in a cage and throw away the key. And that doesn't address the reason why that harm was created in the first place. A lot of times, people who create trauma for others are those who themselves went through trauma earlier in their own lives. Right. And I bring all of this up to say that, you know, again, like when we talk about policing, I don't think the system actually makes us safer. I think what it does is it just removes problems out of view.
And here's a little bit of Zohran Mamdani, as we've been talking about. Boy, oh boy, he's had it in for Israel.
Hello, everyone! Who is ready to end U.S. military aid to Israel? Who is ready to end $3.8 billion in annual military aid? My name is Zohran Mamdani. I am the assembly member for the 36th district here in New York State. That is Astoria and Long Island City. And I am proud to be here at this protest. I am proud to stand unapologetically for the freedom of Palestinians. It is at the core of my politics.
Being pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel, the core of his politics. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go back to Michael on the east side. Go ahead, Michael. Sorry, we had a hard break there before.
No, that's okay. I'm a patient guy.
Thank you.
Okay. A little bit about who Mamdani is. Most people know some aspects, but most people don't know the fact that most of his money was raised by an organization called CAIR, C-A-I-R, which got its funding basically from the Muslim Brotherhood, an evil group. Mamdani is really no good. Now, let me tell you two things that occurred with the Jewish community. He very cunningly had took an invitation from a group of hateful rabbis who hate Israel, and I'll tell you why. And he posed with them during one of the Jewish holidays. Though that group of rabbis is called Neturei Karta. They hate Israel because in 1948, God did not create the new state of Israel. It was the UN. So they have this religious hate for Israel, and they protest along with the Palestinians.
Right, and by the way, I saw exactly the moment, and he met with them soon after. He met with them before he got elected. He met with them afterwards. Like, ha ha ha! Look who I'm hanging with. So let's get to modern times here, Michael. How do you think he's going to handle? No. Hold on a second. I don't want to have you go on a long historical diatribe. What I want to have you talk about is how do you think he's going to handle things? And let me ask you about this also, Ina Vernikov. because she's saying she wants to bring Netanyahu to Mamdani's inauguration on January 1st, maybe, or around then to New York. What do you think of that?
All right, I'm not even going to go there. But to conclude my comments about these rabbis, he met with 10 important rabbis, mostly conservative and reform, in a private meeting. And the main rabbi of that group has recorded his absolute disgust with Mamdani after he was finished with everything that Mamdani
So where
said.
did he put that audio? Where's that audio? I'd love to hear that audio, Michael.
I'll send it to you. I have it in my email.
All right, because I actually would love to hear that, because I'm telling you, Michael, that would be very, very interesting. So make sure, I do want to hear it. I think it's important. I think you should put it out there also on social media. People need to hear it because bottom line, let's hear what this guy really says. I mean, we hear it. It's pretty blatant. The sad thing is this guy is not hiding it. This guy, to me, is blatantly anti-Semitic. My opinion, he is clearly a clear and present danger, and I think he's going full steam ahead. And that's a tragedy. So, by the way, make sure that rabbi and you and others get it out there, because that needs to come out there. Michael, thank you. Really, really important stuff. And by the way, also, let's not forget, this guy is so inexperienced, too. Mamdani's totally inexperienced. And if you thought it was bad enough for New York, oh, boy, are you ready for this one? JFK's grandson, Jack Schlossberg, he just announced his bid, essentially, for Congress in New York. He's planning to replace Jerry Nadler. And yeah, he has obviously a big name, part of the Kennedy family. But he is 32 years old. And one of the only jobs he's ever held was working for Vogue magazine. And you got to hear, this guy is a piece of work. Listen to what he has. He's got all this stuff on social media. And this guy is running for Congress. He makes AOC look like a brain surgeon. Listen to this.
She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride, but she don't care.
You got to see him. He's like dancing, like, shirtless with his jeans and dancing like he's, singing I Will Survive almost. His version of it, Ticket to Ride, but he's dancing like a diva, if you will, up there. I mean, it's incredible. And this guy wants to be taken seriously. I don't know. After Zohran Mamdani, maybe anybody can get elected. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Robert in Brooklyn on line 1. Go ahead, Robert.
Hi, Rita. Thanks for taking my call. Well, in terms of Jessica Tisch, I hope she stays on as the police commissioner because she's the most qualified person for the job. I agree. By the way, I agree, but I think it hurts her brand, and I think it gives Mamdani a stamp of credibility he does not deserve. Yeah, but the thing about it is that, Jessica Tisch, she's not just reporting to the mayor, she's also, I think, reporting to the governor, Hochul. And, Jessica Tisch, if this Mamdani crosses the line, which could happen, probably will, she only has
could happen. Robert, could happen. I would say will happen. The question is, could it happen in 5 minutes or 5 hours? That's really the question.
Right. So, but all she has to do, Jessica Tisch, is pick up the phone and call Governor Hochul, and Governor Hochul could tell Mamdani, look, if you're going to endanger the people who live in New York City, then I'm going to have to fire you. That's all.
Oh, Robert, come on. Do you actually think that Kathy Hochul, who endorsed Mamdani, who doesn't believe technically in a lot of things she said, she has knelt at the throne of Zohran Mamdani. He hasn't even, quote, endorsed her yet. She's got an election year and she's got to get a lot of votes from New York City to win. If you just look at the numbers, it's a given. she is going to want his support. And she's going to be acquiescing, sadly, I think, to so many things. I don't think she's going to want to keep him in line in any shape or form. She's going to say, oh, Zohran, keep on going. You're doing a great job, Zohran. You're wonderful, Zohran. She's never, you think she's going to scold him publicly or even ever consider removing him? No way. I'm telling you, no way.
But 1 second, Rita. The thing about it is, it's very interesting that Mamdani said he doesn't want to get rid of Jessica Tisch. It seems like he's saying that because Governor Hochul, when she gave an endorsement to Mamdani, she made it clear to Mamdani not to get rid of Jessica Tisch. Because as bad as the endorsement by Hochul was, Hochul got a price out of it. She says, I want Jessica Tisch to stay on as commissioner. I am not going to let you have another, Crown Heights pogrom where you had Yankel Rosenbaum got killed 30 years ago. We're not going to go through that again. And Hochul, when there was an anti-Semitic attack that took place on the yeshiva, she immediately was on top of it, talking about referring to the police and that the New York State Police are there to help. And I do not believe that Kathy Hochul, she's not that much different than Governor Cuomo. And guess what? You were supporting, and I was supporting, reluctantly, but I was supporting Cuomo. And Hochul is not that much different than Cuomo.
By the way, Robert, you're right. She has been very good in protecting the Jewish community, 100%. Sadly, though, she endorsed Zohran Mamdani, and she should not have. I'm sure she was incredibly pressured to do so. He needed, again, a stamp of approval. I just don't see her doing anything to rein him in. And I don't think it helps Jessica Tisch. I mean, the only reason I hesitate about saying she shouldn't go is it's nice to have someone who's an adult in the room. And I hear what you're saying about that. But I also don't see Kathy Hochul doing anything to rein Mamdani in. She was very quick. And some of these steps that she took, I still think she would take them now regardless. But I think a lot of those things you're talking about are before she endorsed Zohran Mamdani. And you endorse someone who's a blatant anti-Semite, that's not a good thing. That to me is incredibly destructive. And you think about, had she not kind of given him the stamp of, approval, you wonder how maybe it may have played a role in some people's minds. Had she treated him like the fringe, crazy candidate with crazy views that he is, maybe the election might have been different. So, I have a hard time believing she's going to be suddenly, a really tough stuff with him. I don't buy that, Robert, in any shape or form.
Yeah, but I think Governor Hochul was also concerned about her own primary. She doesn't want to get primaried by some lunatic left-winger.
She is. And, she's got her lieutenant governor who's definitely a progressive who's running. So he's already going to primary her. He's already signaled that, and he's a left-winger. So she's going to need to stay on the left flank to ward him off, at least through the primary. So guess what? That's quite a bit of months there, Robert. And that should just answer your question right there. And he's a lefty. So she's going to have to go left.
We don't want a repeat performance of what happened in New York, where you get an extreme left winger to win the primary. You need Hochul to win the primary so we don't have a repeat performance. And I want to warn everybody, until the Republicans deal with health care and affordability, nature abhors a vacuum. How do you get people like Hitler and Mamdani? Because people are not being satisfactory, their needs are not being met. Affordability, health care, you have a guy like Elon Musk, he got $1 trillion, not $1 million, not $1 billion, but $1 trillion with a T. Meanwhile, it's hard to afford a bag of potato chips. So this can't go on. The Republicans have some responsibility. They're cutting Medicaid. Shame on the Republicans. And I'll tell you something. I plan on voting for Hochul. If Hochul was running against,
all right, so two things, Robert. You got a lot of stuff in there. First off, you go into the Medicaid stuff. A lot of the stuff that the Republicans are looking at are fraud and abuse. I don't think you want illegals to be receiving that. Maybe you do. I think most Americans do not think that's a good use of funds. That's one. I hear what you're saying of you don't want a far lefty getting in. On the other hand, there will be Republican candidates in. We know that already. Elise Stefanik is in there. And also, who knows, maybe Bruce Blakeman might throw his name in on the Republican side, too. So there may be, there may be contenders, multiple ones on the GOP side. But I hear what you're saying, that they can't ignore affordability issues. And look, I don't think they are, but I do think they are learning that they got to spotlight it even more and some of their successes even more and explain why certain things are being cut or added, by the way, too, as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things. So I hear what you're saying. On the other hand, you can also look back at the mayor's race and say, had there been different candidates, it would have been different. Clearly, the primary got away from Andrew Cuomo, and that started this horrible, horrible trend with this Mamdani guy and all the money that we talked about also earlier in the show. But you might get a lefty regardless, Robert, because even Kathy Hochul, I agree with you, she's not a traditional lefty, but if Mamdani feels like he's got her in his pocket, she'll be a hardcore lefty then suddenly, and that's not good either. So we got to see. It's going to be an interesting dance, especially at a primary day, to your point, Robert. 1-800-848-9222. And now, everybody, support our heroes.
The Rita Cosby Show presents Support Our Heroes.
And this is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Support Our Heroes segment with a powerful story from Richmond, Missouri, where veterans from around the country were honored, including Ray County, Missouri's oldest veteran, Navy veteran Graham Myers. He is now 98 years old. He served in World War II. He spent a year on a first-class tanker, which was critical in helping to refuel ships in Pacific. And he said that there out in the middle of the ocean, there was no dust, no smoke. You could see far. You could see the curve of the earth. And we thank him and, of course, all the members of the greatest generation for their incredible service and sacrifice for our freedom. And everybody, all it takes is just $11 a month. Donate $11 a month to the incredible Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Be sure to check them out at T2T.org, T2T.org.
Hey there, it's Dr. Sanjay Gupta with some exciting news to share. CNN is now streaming. That means you can read, watch, and stream everything in one subscription. You can watch news live 24/7. You can also explore catch-up videos and explainer videos, and you can also watch a library of CNN's originals, including my latest documentary, It Doesn't Have to Hurt. Just go to cnn.com/all access.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. This Monday night, witness the end of an era. John Cena takes center stage for his final appearance ever on Monday Night Raw. One last match, one unforgettable farewell. Come celebrate the legacy of a true WWE legend. Monday Night Raw, November 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, only on Netflix. Be there for the moment everyone will be talking about.
Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku. And it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana lets you buy your next car on your terms. Explore a massive inventory online, filter for what matters, and find your perfect match. Then choose delivery to your home or pick it up at one of Carvana's iconic car vending machines. Every car also comes with a 7-day money-back guarantee, so you can make sure it's the right fit. Buy your car on Carvana. Delivery or pickup fees may apply. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Carvana.
It's the Rita Cosby Show.
And let's go to your calls, guys. Let's go to Judith in Brooklyn. Your thoughts tonight, Judith?
What the bloody hell is that You know, I come from Australia, so bloody bugger is a really good thing. So anyway, yeah, what the bloody hell is this Mamdani lying about? I'm sick and tired of his lies and the people that follow him and the indoctrinated useful idiots out there. The Palestinians have nothing to do, let's put it this way, the Israelis have nothing to do with the Palestinians over there, okay? Since 2005, Hamas has completely taken them over. Israel's not in there ever. They have their own police. They have their own everything there. Israel only stays on the border to make sure that these suicide idiots don't come in.
And guess what? And Judith, let's not forget, it was a ceasefire on October 7th, 2023.
Oh, and Rita,
right.
Please, can I tell you something? Last week I was in Manhattan. I took an Uber back to Brooklyn, okay? And the Uber driver was a young Muslim guy, the age of Mamdani. And I asked him I didn't know he was Muslim at first, and I asked him to put on WABC. I like to listen to the radio. And so sure enough, one of the hosts was there, actually Greg, and he was basically dissecting whatever Mamdani was saying at one point from some sort of thing. And he turns to me, he says, this reporter is very, he's very not right. Very not. Why? Because they just hate Mamdani because he's Muslim. So of course,
oh, my goodness, which is so ridiculous because clearly that is not the case with Greg Kelly. He's a great guy, and it has nothing to do with Muslim. Obviously, a lot of people have problems with people who are hardcore Islamists. And the more I hear about Mamdani, the more concerned I get, and the arrogance of him tonight, the arrogance.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
It's easy to get stuck reaching for the same familiar fruits and vegetables, even when you know a colorful variety is key. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggie supplements don't replace fruits and vegetables, but it makes it easy to add more variety to what you already eat. With 31 ingredients that are whole fruits and vegetables, switching it up is easy because we've already taken care of the hard part. Go to balanceofnature.com and get a free fiber and spice supplement, plus 35% off your first set as a new preferred customer by using discount code POD.